Okay, so question 10. Ali and John took part in a triathlon. In the triathlon, they had to complete a 5K kayak, 25K cycle, and then a 10K run. The diagram below was drawn after both of them had finished the race. So you can see the three different pieces, the kayak, the cycle, and the run, plotted against the distance for each one. And we'll look at this in a second. The diagram below, it shows how many minutes more than John or less than John it took Ali. So it's plotting them against each other in terms of how quick each of them was. It took Ali to travel D, so distance kilometers, where for 0 is less than or equal to D, less than or equal to 40. For example, the point A shows that it took Ali 1 minute more than John to travel the first 10K. So the top line is where Ali is basically slower than John. And the bottom line is where John is slower than Ali. So in the kayak part, you can see that here, that John after the kayak was 2 minutes ahead of Ali because this is more than John it took Ali. So it took Ali 2 minutes more. And then point 2 is where Ali made up a bit of ground, but he's still a minute behind John. In total, it took Ali 1 minute less than John to finish the triathlon. Okay. So an interesting one. So question A, did Ali finish the kayak section ahead of John, behind John, or at the same time as John? So we can see here after the first 5K that Ali is more than, how many minutes more than John it took Ali? Ali is actually behind John. He's 2 minutes behind him after the kayak. So the answer to the first part is behind John. Okay. The second part, Ali had to stop briefly during the triathlon. John did not stop. So we see here that Ali has stopped for what looks like 1 minute and a half. So the distance Ali had traveled. So he had traveled 25 kilometers and then he stopped for some amount of time. So let's put 25 in there. That's the answer to the first part. Oops. So he traveled 25 before he stopped, and then the length of time he stopped. So this is 1 minute from here to here, and this is another minute and a half a minute. So it's 1.5 minutes. Okay. Okay, so part C. What was happening, John and Ali, at the point marked B on the diagram? So let's go back to the diagram for a sec. So B is where the point is. So what happened? So after the kayak, Ali was 2 minutes behind John. Then he gained in the first 5K of the cycle, he gained a minute back, which is where point A is, and then he gained another minute back after the next 5K on the bike. So Ali was faster than John on first 10K of the cycle and caught up or drew level with him at point B. Okay, so that's what was happening. Okay, so part B. The table below shows the time it took John to complete each of the 3 sections of the triathlon as well as his total time. Okay, so his total time was 1:06. Now it said in the question above that it already told us that Ali took 1 minute less than John to finish the total triathlon. So we actually know already that this figure here is 1:05. Use the diagram to fill in the missing time. So we've got that one. So if we go back again, if we look at the kayak, we already know that he finished behind John from this earlier question, 2 minutes behind John in the kayak. So 2 minutes more is 34 minutes. Then he made ground up on the bike, or at least the start of it, but because of the pause for a minute and a half, he only finished 1 minute ahead of John on the cycle part. So if John took 38, Ali took 37. And then if you look at the run, what you'll notice is Ali was a minute ahead of John the entire at the end of the cycle, but he maintained that minute the whole way during the run. So he gained a minute after 5 and he gained another minute after the final 5K of the run, which means he gained 2 minutes more on the run. So this should be 34. So because he was 2 minutes faster than John on the run as well. So if I add those together, it should come to 1:05. So 3:30s is 90. 4 and 7 is 11, and 5, 15, plus 90 is 105. So there are your answers for that one. Okay, last part, E. John and Ali also ran a 400-meter race, so this has nothing to do with the triathlon. John's average speed was 400, sorry, for the 400 was 7.8 meters per second. It took Ali 2 seconds more than John to run the 400 meters. Work out Ali's average speed for the 400. Give your answer in meters per second. Correct to 1 decimal place. Okay. So let's not forget our, so we're talking about speed, distance and time type of a calculation here. So let's not forget our DST, distance, speed and time. Okay, so we've got a distance here of 400 meters. For John, the speed of John was 7.8 meters per second. So I can work out how long it took John. So the time for John is the distance all over the speed, which is 400 divided by 7.8. So that's going to give me 51.28 seconds. So it took John that long to run it. It took Ali 2 seconds more than John. That's what it's telling us here. So the T of Ali, the time for Ali, is 52.28 plus 2 equals 53.28 seconds. So it's asking me work out Ali's average speed. So Ali's average speed, so the speed for Ali, of course the distance is the same, it's 400 meters. And I'm going to put 53 under that to work out the speed for Ali. So Ali's speed was 7.507 meters per second, or to was it 2 decimal places to 1 decimal place? So that's going to be 7.5 meters per second for Ali. Okay, so that's the answer for that part.